Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tudoya. So yesterday, Advocate Munisi wrapped up his evidence in chief of accused number one, Muzi Sibiya. And today, this morning, we're expecting that the prosecution will begin to cross-examine Muzi Sibiya. Yesterday, the court had to go on an adjournment a bit early because Muzi Sibiya was reported to be a bit tired. Now let us take a look at where the prosecution is likely to go this morning. You see, there are two versions now. The prosecution case is based on the fact that there was a confession by Bongani Ntanzi, accused number two, against all the other accused. And we now know it, and it is on record, that it was subsequent to that confession, or alleged confession made by Bongani Ntanzi, that the rest of the accused persons were arrested. But that confession remains largely disputed. And in the case of the first accused, his own confession is in dispute. Now, where is the prosecution likely to go, I'm saying? The prosecution is likely to focus on the evidence of Constable Zungu. Constable Zungu, the way this case has been proceeding, is the one person who says he met the accused persons at the Basotho hostel earlier in the day on the 26th of October 2014. He says they then left and they met up with him at a later stage during the night. And that period within which they left sort of coincides with the time at which Senzo MEYIWA was allegedly shot. So circumstantially, Constable Zungu is trying to link the accused persons with the commission of the killing, with the commission of the offense in that manner. That is one piece of evidence, and the other being the alleged confession. Now, if you juxtapose all that with the evidence that has been tendered by Muzi Sibiya in his evidence in chief, Muzi Sibiya has given a graphic account of the assaults that were meted out to him. Now, the purpose of all that by Advocate Munisi and of course Muzi Sibiya was to portray a scenario, a very sad scenario in which Muzi Sibiya was subjected to third-degree methods of interrogation. And that achieves its purpose because if subsequent to that, an allegation is then made that he made some confession, the question that remains is, was that confession under the circumstances? Given the surrounding circumstances of the assault that he has testified about, can such a confession be taken to have been made freely and voluntarily? That will be the true test. can a man who has been subjected to such prolonged torture, being kicked, being handcuffed most of the time, being abused, verbally, can a man in that state of mind, and at times you see denied sleep for long periods of time, even if it can be taken that he did make some confession, the question is, can it be taken that confession was made freely and voluntarily? That is the issue that the court, among other things, must determine. Now, there's a legal hurdle to cross here. There are two versions. The one version of the prosecution being that Muzi Sibiya was involved. He had a common purpose with the other accused in the killing of MEYIWA. He's been charged, or the prosecution relies on the doctrine of common purpose to link him up with the rest of the accused. It's a very, very dicey situation. A very, very dicey situation, because if you look at that confession that the prosecution relies upon, it sort of discredits itself. That confession statement by Ntanzi sort of discredits itself, because it has left out a very crucial link. The mastermind, if there was a mastermind involved, and this mastermind appears in the confession statement, that mastermind should have come forward, right? One way or the other. So it is doubtful. And under the circumstances, I really think that this confession has got a lot of question marks around it. But the ultimate decision that the court has to make in the assessment of evidence is whether the version put forward by the prosecution compared to the version put forward now by the defense, which of the two can be reasonably, possibly true? In other words, the court has got to make a determination and ask itself, having had both sides of the story, which of the two sides of the story seems more likely than the other? That's a value judgment, isn't it? The judge there has to make a value judgment in his assessment of the evidence to make that determination, whether he's convinced that what Ntanzi is saying is the truth, or what the prosecution is alleging happened is the truth. On the face of it, the evidence put forward by the prosecution looks shaky. It is circumstantial and shaky. But the bottom line is, what does the judge make of it? Because we have already seen, where Judge Ratam tends to lean. He has already, after the trial within a trial, ruled that this same confession that we are talking about were made freely and voluntarily. So your guess is as good as mine as to where things will go. But without preempting anything, let us see where it goes this morning. And it is bound to be very explosive. It's bound to be very explosive. And I guarantee Balu will come out guns blazing to try and discredit the evidence of Muzi Sibiya. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video. Let me thank you for all the views and subscription and likes that I'm seeing. Please continue to support this initiative, and I'll bring you news and analysis that you won't get on any other media platform. Thank you and have a nice day.